Hello and welcome to episode number 8 of season 3 of Empowered Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Michael Abney, and I'm with
Marilyn Egan.
And we have Marilyn, what?
Yes, we have Jeanie Gilliam back today, which we are so excited that she's here. So we have 2 episodes in a row with Jeanie because last time we just knew there was more that we needed to share. I think we had a powerful session with her last time, and we just needed to go forward and do another one with her.
So if you just happen to find us and you're listening to this one, press pause and go back to episode number 4 where this conversation actually began.
Started, yes.
And we finished that podcast. And just a little context for our listeners. This season we are recording 3 or 4 at a time. So the last one you were here before, Jeanie, it was powered up like no tomorrow.
It was. This room was powered up.
The episode with the Akashic Records was right before you, and we did not expect that to happen. It went on for an hour. It was an hour-long podcast. Yeah. It was phenomenal. Like listening back to it was just out of body, and then yours, and then which leads us to today, why we're all here today. But I want Marilyn to share, we're going to talk about what happened after the podcast.
Well, actually, I would like Jeanie to talk about how she felt in that podcast and after Body, Mind, and Spirit, because there was a lot of energy. So many different ways.
There was. And there was a lot of energy in the room when I came in. I wasn't aware of what had preceded me. And in my preparation for coming in, I had done my opening prayer. I had done the preparation to be open, and I had asked the guides to speak to what was in the highest and greatest good of all the listeners, what was important for listeners to hear. And that's a wonderful intent to have going into a session or a reading, maybe not so much for an interview format, because basically what I was doing was allowing the guides to set the tone. And I felt like in that podcast, I was almost being overridden by what the guides wanted to say. Yeah. I felt like you would ask a question and I would start to answer, and suddenly I'm hearing myself go off, not necessarily on a tangent, but that there was a definite theme to what they wanted to present. And they wanted to talk about unity, and they wanted to talk about love consciousness, and they wanted to talk about clearing trauma and recognizing that and how important that was. And somehow things just kept moving in that direction. And I walked out of here and I just thought, what just happened? It was very surreal. I knew I had picked up on energy and was really operating on that and allowing the guides to kind of do their work. But that meant I wasn't as in control as I normally maybe would have liked to have been, to be doing just an interview, where I thought the premise was more, what's your process? What does it feel like? So I was happy to share, but I hoped that I gave you what you needed or wanted as well.
Yes. And I would say the information that came through was powerful, was needed.
Well,
and I think it's huge for our audience to hear that. But I also think it's very valuable to know how you, Jeanie Gilliam, works with the guides, how you bring them in, how you receive them. And I mean, it's almost like we're doing a prequel.
I feel like that. So, to kind of fill in the blanks so people understand what happens. And I think part of what I'd like to do, I can talk about my process, what it feels like to be me to do this, but also I'd like to normalize it for other people. And everybody's process is going to be very unique to them. It may be very much like mine. It may be very, very different than mine. And so I don't ever want anybody to say or think that I'm saying you have to do it this way. These are my steps, therefore they're your steps.
Right.
They may not work for you. But you may have a totally different way of accessing spirit than I do. And that can be beautiful.
That's so valuable, because just today, actually, I was talking to your daughter.
There we go.
Who is a talented energy worker and reader also. And we were talking about how the importance right now is for everyone to know that they come up with their own messages, or they interpret
Right.
what they need to get.
Right.
It's about
Right.
our own way of doing this. What other people tell us is very valuable.
Yes. Yes.
It's really about what's coming from here. So thank you for saying that, because that fits in perfect with what's going on right now.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was getting messages about that as well. And as far as, the interpretation of whether it's me giving you a message or someone else, you have to be aware of, I think there are some caveats that we have to keep in mind when you do get a reading.
Yes.
Is that it's reading your energy, what's in your field at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And it's not a certainty. You can read what's in somebody's field at that moment, and that would give you a probability of what might be coming in the future. But because we have free will, because other people have free will, we can impact, I think we can impact the future and the past, literally, by our intentions and our actions. But we'll keep it simple and say we definitely can impact the future, so that you can have someone give you a reading and say, I see this in your future, and you're not sentenced with that. That just means there's a probability this is in your field, and you see if it resonates with you. Does it resonate in your heart? Does it make you have goosebumps? Does it bring sacred tears to your eyes? Those are the signs that I look for. When I'm working with the guides, I feel tingly in my hands. When I speak a truth to someone during a reading, I'll break out in goosebumps. And usually they'll react at the same time in whatever way is normal for them. Sometimes I'll just well up with what feels like, I call them sacred tears, because I'm just overwhelmed with like the divine nature of the connection between the spirit guides and this person and myself, and that I have the honor of being present for that and being a part of that. And just the fact that anyone will trust another human being to walk that walk and get into that intimate, personal, sacred space with them, I'm in awe of that, and I'm touched by that. And I just think that's huge. It's a huge honor. It's a huge responsibility for all of us to be in integrity with that, obviously. And again, I try to suspend my filters, but I can only speak my own language. So when I get a message and I'm giving it to you, I will be as clear and accurate to what I received as possible. I will tell you about impressions I have, but I will not give you impressions in the sense of, I'll get a sense of this has to do with your work, or I'll get a sense of being outside, when this message comes through. So this is something about when you're outside. And I gave one reading, and I knew the person rode horses recreationally, but I could feel I was in a horse barn for this part of the message. And it was a really strange message that came through. And again, this can happen when you're getting messages yourself. And sometimes I think it's just sort of a little nudge from spirit to get our attention and validate. But what happened in this particular reading, I got the sense of, the horse barn. And then I kept hearing the word Excelsior. And it was very, very clear. And that was all I would hear. Excelsior, Excelsior. This has something to do with you and your horse barn. And I reported it to her. I almost didn't, because I thought this is just odd. And before I gave her the reading, I looked up the word, and what is Excelsior? What could that possibly mean? And it says it's a packing material used a long time ago. I don't know, a generation ago. Yeah. Like wood shavings kind of, and they used to pack things with it. So, and there's a town named Excelsior. Well, that didn't mean anything to me either. So I passed it along, and she didn't have any idea what it was either. And so I just said, well, I came in really clear. I'll give that to you and see what you do with it. And a few days later, I got a text like, I have to talk to you right now. I have to talk to you right now. And so I called her, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm just shaking. And it kind of went to a different backstory, but she said she had been so curious too. And part of the reason she got into wanting a reading was there had been a channeler and a psychic healer there working with a certain horse that is just this beautiful animal that everyone loves. It's like the star horse of this barn, and, everybody just adores this animal. And so she started researching that animal and where her horse came from. And it turns out they were bred at Excelsior stables in Wichita, Kansas, or some other state that she had no idea. And so I had no idea. She had no idea. But then there was this bizarre validation that I was tuned into something real. And so that wasn't the important part of the message. The important part of her message was that her mom came through, and her mom had passed, and she brought through this beautiful message of love and acceptance and saying, you're doing exactly what you were put on this earth to do. I'm so proud of you. And it was a beautiful message. And when I shared it with her, she said, wow, that's so interesting, because my mom always gave me a tough time, that I didn't go to college and I went to a trade school and I didn't get married right out of, high school or college at a young age. I was living with my fiance for like 8 years. And, I just didn't fit the mold that my siblings fit. And so it was really validating to her that her mother came through to tell her that now that she was on the other side, she could see all of that and could see that she had been harsh with her daughter and that she really was so proud of her. And so the little Excelsior piece in and of itself, it's not that that was important, but it was the validation she needed to believe the rest, I think.
Yes.
And the delay, having it happen, that it aha'd her
Right,
later.
right.
That's powerful.
Yeah, because she really didn't know. She had to research where that really came up. And so, you really can tap into truth and wisdom and connection on the other side.
But that made the entire reading have more impact.
Oh, yeah, for me as well.
Yeah, and for her to, like you said, research it and figure it out.
Yeah, and what a lesson for me, because I almost left it out thinking this is too odd. This doesn't fit. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to censor. This may have meaning for the people I'm reading.
And you haven't censored since?
Oh, no. I'm very careful. Flip side of that, just FYI, is that you also have to be careful with terminology because, again, spirit has many languages.
Yes.
And they can speak in metaphor. They can speak in symbols. They can speak very clearly in, very clear words, very concrete. And I was doing a reading for a person once and was getting the image of a cancerous growth. And the guides use the word cancer. This cancer will overtake her. There was a sense of her losing what was important to her because of it. And so first blush, I have a nursing background. You're thinking, okay, this is going to be a health crisis. She may not be able to work or continue her career, but it didn't really fit that. It didn't really feel like that. And so before I shared this, I meditated, gave it thought. I consulted some other people that do readings and said, how do you deliver this kind of news and stay authentic and true, but also be cautious and careful with what you're saying. And so I went back and she said, well, consult the guides and see what they say. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And they said, no, this is a process. This is a process. They weren't talking about physical cancer. But there was something that would enter her life that would grow rapidly, that would overtake things in some way. And so I did share this, and it didn't have immediate meaning for this person. But she went on, and over the next 2 years, she had an issue with her ego. And her business. She was very invested in her business and really pulled her identity with that. And she began to lose her way, and she began to become less authentic in business. And it was all about wanting to leave a legacy, wanting to make more money, wanting to be more known. And it was really out of control. And so there was the cancerous growth. And what happened was that she did lose her business. She lost her place of business first, and then she lost her business. And she was, I felt like the spirits had talked to her, and they had specifically mentioned her ego in another part of the reading, saying, you have you have a distinct purpose. They went through all of her many gifts that she has and how she's meant to use those, but that she was being diverted somehow. And so again, there's that really clear lesson for me as someone who reads to realize, this can be a metaphor. This, be cautious what you share. Plus, words have a lot of power, and you don't want to put things out in the universe that aren't true or that could bring something ill in somebody's field. So
so interesting. Our society hears the word cancer,
right,
and we go to this physical growth inside our body.
Of course.
Whereas the guides are so universal, unlimited, timeless.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
so
not
bear in mind their
mean.
perspective when you hear things or get things, and clarify.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that, I'd like to make sure people know, whether they're going for their own guidance or getting guidance through someone else, is you can ask questions. you can ask for clarification.
Yes.
Or I don't understand. Please tell me more. I think that's really important. And I found that to be a really helpful tool for me when I'm looking for clarity before I share something with someone.
So tell us a little bit more about what a typical reading is for you and how you normally do when someone comes to you, how you would normally do a reading.
Okay. The first thing I do is I'll chat with the person a little bit. I don't want to know too much. And I tend to like reading people I don't know. I think it's more interesting to me to do that because it's easier to keep my own thoughts and feelings out of it. Yeah. So, but I'll find out sort of what they're looking for. Are they worried about their professional life? Are they worried about family? What area do they want me to try to get information on? And I'll ask them, do you have a list of questions? And I'll present those to the guides. No guarantee that you'll get an absolute answer to those questions as written, but it will let the guides know where your concerns are. And I think that it helps them to kind of tune in, and it helps me, to make that connection in the right area. So then we'll do that. And then I'll tell them that it usually takes, 24, 48 hours time. And then by then I should have gotten a good reading. And so I will go and I will do my opening prayer of protection and align myself with, the divine realm and ask what's in the highest and greatest good for this person. And to me, that's also important because you don't want to just open to anything on the other side. You want to open to love and light and wisdom and what is going to help this person move forward. So that's how I'll open up. And then I just try to get myself out of the way. And just receive what's coming. And I don't try to censor. I don't try to shift. I will write. I'll just be very relaxed off someplace by myself and just write what I'm getting as it flows. If the flow stops, then I'll ask for more. Is there anything else? If the flow stops, I'll go back to the original questions and say, okay, what about this, this, and this? And see if they'll elaborate on those things. And it's interesting because I can kind of feel the difference when it's a guide coming in. Sometimes a loved one will come in. And if it's a spiritual guide of a higher level, they tend to come in up and to the left of me. I don't know why that is, but I'll feel them up above me and to the left. And, people that have crossed over are more maybe at my eye level to forehead level. It's just kind of an interesting phenomenon that, and as they come through, if it's a person, I will get a sense of personality sometimes, or get a sense of what their relationship is to the person that I'm doing the reading for. And now I understand why, like, psychics on TV would say, oh, I'm getting a mother figure and it starts with a J. And I always thought that was kind of hokey, or, kind of, like, oh, is that a scam? Because we all have mother figures in our past. And now I get it, though, because you feel this motherly energy. You feel what a mother feels for a child. Now, is that their mother, or is it someone that loved them like a mother? It could be a grandmother. It could be a teacher. It could have been a neighbor that was like a mother to you. And so I get it now why it's described that way, because it would be inauthentic of me to just say, this is your mother. I say, this has mother energy to it. I feel motherly feelings, or I will feel an authoritative feeling and feel like, well, this may have been your boss. It may have been a teacher. It may have someone that had some type of power differential with you. You're looking funny over there, Michael.
I'm getting that big aha.
Yeah.
Because everything in life is really manifested through feeling.
Okay.
Like
I
when you
agree.
feel
Yes.
something, that's the only thing the universe responds to. Like you feel in your
Right.
heart, and it goes out
Right.
and creates places, people, and events and circumstances that when you experience them, you feel the same way.
Right.
It completes the
Makes
loop.
sense.
So when you were talking about, and here's another sidebar, we don't as a society place value on our feelings.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
We place value on our thoughts.
You're right. Right. And actions. Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
And totally be about the
Yes.
actual thing
Yeah. Yeah.
that manifests everything.
Right. Right.
So when you were talking, I saw this reverse feedback loop that you were tapping into
That
off
makes
of
sense.
their own feelings. I'm like,
That makes
oh, you're
sense.
reading that backwards.
Right. That makes
Yes.
perfect sense to me. Yeah. I hadn't thought of it, but that makes perfect sense. And that's where the connection is to that spirit.
And when you
was through
said the
feelings.
hokey, you're like people would perceive it, it's because there's no value that's been placed yet
That's a good point. That's a
on
very good
feelings
point. Yeah.
and that they
Yeah.
are the thing.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
word cancer has a different interpretation.
Well, you have a
You know?
feeling.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
right. Exactly.
You have an instant
Yeah.
feeling, like somebody that's got that in their past would have that feeling.
For sure.
There's nothing more cancerous
Right.
than an out of control ego.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
hello.
And it was their way of signifying that something is
Yeah.
growing out of control that is detrimental to this person was
So-
the other part.
Yes.
Feelings are
So-
valuable.
So yeah, feelings are huge. And it is our connection to the other side for sure.
So it's genius that you do it that way.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know how else. So
Yeah.
I can't take credit for that.
Well, there is no other.
It's-
That's the point.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the way it works for me.
Yeah.
And there will be times that I will feel something so intense that I am immediately crying. And sometimes that's the feeling of the loved one for that person. Sometimes when I'm doing a reading for someone that's struggling, I will get a momentary glimpse, and it's just for a moment, of what they feel. And it can be heart-wrenching. I mean, you can feel someone's devastation, their fear, their, whatever it is. They give me, and I'm glad they do, they'll give me a little piece of that so that I can relate and have empathy for what I'm communicating. And they're also letting that person know that they get it. The guides get it. The other side gets it. They understand what you're going through. And so they show it to me as a way to communicate to that person. They know what this feels like, and they let me feel it just for a moment. And so it really is important that is the connection, Michael. I think you're
Yes.
completely right.
It is.
Well, I received that.
Right.
Yes.
Like
right.
I didn't. That wasn't sitting here ready to pop off.
Right.
That
Right.
was an
Right.
actual download while you were
Right,
talking.
right. And so again, if people are listening to this and they're going
could be
to
having
do
their-
to know that it can come through with feelings. So this makes me think of something else. And again, we're doing a tangent, but I guess that's okay.
Yes, totally.
It has to do with the reading I did. Sometimes things will come through when I'm not in a set mind of being separate and asking for a reading, especially if it's people I know or I've read them before. And so I was with one of my daughters, and it started, we were planning a trip, and I had long had feelings of her having past lives that were somehow in Great Britain, like a Celtic origin. I'd had feelings about that. I had at one time, I was visiting her in Texas, and we were out to dinner, and I remember I'm walking out of this restaurant, and I'm getting this image, and it's this past life with her, and she was an herbalist, kind of what we would say maybe is a Wiccan today, very much nature-driven, very spiritual, and it was in old England or Ireland. I don't clearly get a map in my head sometimes, but I can see a setting, and I could see stone ovens, with a fire, and, she was a servant person, I think, or somehow worked at, And she had been turned in by another female for witchcraft. And she was hanged.
Oh.
And I don't know that that's typical for witches, but I mean, I clearly saw this happening. I saw the betrayal happening. I saw the man of the house trying to protect her, but he was unable to because he would lose his station, and she was hanged. And I told her about it, and she was like, I have always had problems with my neck and with swallowing, and no idea why. No idea why. Mm-hmm. And so it made sense to her. So that had come through prior. And then she and I took a trip, and we went to Ireland, Scotland, England. It was wonderful. And before we went, one thing happened. We went to listen to Celtic music at the Fox. And it was beautiful, beautiful music. But as we're sitting there, I'm getting downloads. And I'm seeing her, but she's not really her. You know, it's my daughter, but she has straight hair. She has long curly hair, and she's in this velvet type dress, barefoot, playing this tiny little harp that you can hold up like almost on your shoulder, the size of a violin. And she's skipping through the countryside and singing the same types of songs that they were singing on stage. And I'm looking over at her, and she's crying. And what was happening, we spoke later, was she was listening to the music and she was having an emotional response. And at the same time, they were giving me the download of why she felt so connected to that.
Yeah.
And so it was like this beautiful synchrony where, you know, it was like at the exact same moment that she's crying, I'm seeing the story. So
wow.
The story develops more. We're over there, and we're in New Grange, and they have these ruins that are not explained, and you get to go down under the earth, and you know they're made of all this stone, and there's carvings and hieroglyphic kind of petroglyphs, they call it, on the stones that they've never translated. It's a big mystery what these are. But there's always been the sense of kind of Druidic activities going on there, ancient rites, ancient rituals, that sort of thing is part of the lore. So, you know, they let you go in as a tour, and we were inside, and I saw that she kind of left the tour group and went outside. And then I started getting this impression. And so I'm waiting, you know, till the tour is over. I go outside and find her, and I said, you know, honey, what happened? She goes, I just couldn't breathe. And my jaw dropped because the visual I had seen was her. And again, she was doing something spiritual that wasn't approved of by the powers that were in control at the time. And she had this huge, it looked like an old time wood door, like this massive door that they put on her chest and then put rocks on it and stoned her to death. But they weren't throwing stones. They were piling stones on her chest on this door. And I saw this as clear as could be. And, you know, and I'm telling her, and we're both crying.
Yes.
You know, and people in the tour group are looking at us. And then we later researched, and that really was something they would do. I had no idea that was, you know, a method of punishing or treating people that were considered to be witches or to have, you know, connections that weren't understood or powers that weren't understood.
Wow.
So you know, I was glad that came through. I mean, it was an amazing thing to experience, but it wasn't something I was tuning in and asking for at the moment.
Yeah.
But
it cleared it for her.
Oh, a lot. Oh, yeah.
Right. It cleared that piece for her.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
But I had never heard of that either. So
I
it's
hadn't
really
either.
Interesting then that you could research it and find it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just heard the reason that they did that was because they were laughing like silly people. Like,
wow.
They were trying to contain her magic in the rocks.
That makes sense. Okay.
That's what they're showing me.
Okay.
But they're laughing like how futile because they made her stronger.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
But it cleared the pain.
Yeah.
But the experience, I think, was cleared by recognizing.
This is weird. I don't normally get side messages from other things.
Yeah. But that's amazing that you are.
Yeah. That's
like
really
it's
good.
really.
So I'm glad we're tuning in.
Yeah.
But you're talking about it with your friend at the thing, and then I'm doing it with, it's like, it seems fractal is the word that I'm getting.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That we're all getting a little piece of the whole that actually
We are all
represents
little
the
pieces
whole.
of the whole.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Expressing ourselves.
Right.
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 Because I was getting the piece that you cleared that fear of doing
We've
the
never had
energy
this-
work and being that brilliant
Right.
healer.
For her.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. To own your magic, to
Yes.
own your special
Yeah.
capabilities, to own your skills,
they
to
can't-
own the magic of you.
That's
Yeah.
the
So-
title. See, normally I get the
Yay.
titles for the podcast when I listen to them back, but today I've gotten two
Right.
while they're happening.
Yes.
Just because of
exactly.
me being aware of it.
That's great.
So what was that again? Because I just totally forgot. Rewind. Own
What
your
did we
magic.
say?
Own your magic.
Yeah.
Own your
Yeah.
And I
magic.
love Sacred
Yeah.
Tears. I've never heard that before, but
I
that's
love that, but I've
Yeah.
had that experience too. Actually, just this week, I was getting some deep messages for someone, and I didn't even know until I felt the tears run down my cheeks.
Right. Right.
And then we finish, and I'm wiping my face. She goes, "Oh, you were crying." I said, "Well, it's okay. They're beautiful tears. So
Right,
sacred tears,
exactly,
beautiful
exactly.
tears." But
It's like a sense of awe
Yeah.
and wonder.
yes, that was it. It was an honor.
You know, it's not a pain. It's not.
No.
It
was a sense
it's like
of
more than
honor.
your physical body can hold.
'cause
The
that's who we
sacredness of that
are.
moment, and the tears come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I could see who they were giving me the message, and so could she. We saw the same
Oh, that's
the
beautiful.
same magical spirits on the other side, and
It's also frequency raising.
it
Oh, for
is
sure. I think
frequency
so.
raising,
I
which
think
is
That's what tears actually are. Well, I have a knowing that tears are an I'll put it like this. It's not the thing. It's like the aspect piece that I have. Is
yeah,
that clear?
yes,
So it's the body's response to shifting frequencies.
oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
that makes perfect
I
sense.
believe that.
doesn't it?
Because
Yeah.
like we cry at funerals, we cry at weddings.
You cry
It's-
when you're happy, when you're sad,
Yeah,
when you're
like at a
overwhelmed,
funeral,
when you're
that's-
excited.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
elevation of accepting what's so,
That makes sense.
which raises the frequency every time we accept something. Yay.
Yeah,
And then weddings are the same thing. That's
Yeah.
a total transformation.
and when I'm in high vibration, I can cry happy tears at the slightest
I know.
thing.
I know.
Plus
My
we're
kids make
Libras.
fun of me all the time. So.
There we go.
Yeah.
Plus we're Libras.
Plus, yeah, Libras.
That's always good for a cry.
Yeah.
But
So, Jeanie,
Yes.
how does this feel? These are amazing stories.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's wonderful to have a place to share these kinds of things
Yes.
because it's not something that I talk about with every group of people, you know,
Right.
in my day-to-day life. And so I feel like I've been in this transition of finding my tribe, finding like-minded souls. And I do feel like we as a society, and again, then we're into that global statement, that it's shifting, that we are becoming more and more aware of who we really are and how important our feelings are, our connections are, that's what's real and true. We've been convinced that it's the concrete things that are real that we have to pay attention to. And I get it that those are important in the 3D here and now world to deal with life. But what's actually at the heart of the matter, what's actually what we're about, is what's inside here and how that connects to you and how that connects to you and the greater universe and what unites us all.
Exactly. And, for years, and I had a lot of people who didn't agree with me, but I didn't really care. It's still how I did my work. When people would come to me with a physical pain, a physical disability, I'm like, well, we have to look at the emotions going on underneath it. And I had colleagues who go, oh, there's more. I said, there may be more, but if we don't address the emotions,
Right.
that is the feelings.
the feeling.
That's the foundation
Right.
in the way I see it all. So thank you for validating that, both of you, because
And you too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
thanks,
this all-
thanks. Yeah.
Right, right.
Because like in some weird, I told you I felt that your guides had global messages, right?
Right. Right.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think that it already happened.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I do think that this is
Yeah.
what they're wanting to say.
But you did it it occurred in a authentic, real way.
Unless
Okay.
there's something on the surface that's coming up for you.
No,
that they want to
no,
say.
not in addition to that. I do
Okay.
think that is by and large the message
Right.
is being our authentic true selves, recognizing that in the other person, and realizing that it's this part inside of us that is the God spark, that is our connection to God. It's not our physical body. It's what's inside of us. That is what makes human beings so unique and so fabulous as entities, that we have this God spark that is in every single one of us, that can help us access ourselves, our higher selves, out into the universe, whoever our higher power is, whether you call it God or source or universe, labels don't matter. Truth is what matters. The real essence of it is what matters, and we're talking about the same thing. So that's what connects us to God. It connects us to each other. It connects us to eternity, and we need to recognize that about ourselves,
and see it in each other.
Mm-hmm. For sure,
exactly.
For sure.
But
right.
Like, how do you feel now? Do you feel?
I have
complete?
goosebumps.
I do too.
Me too.
Yeah, I do have goosebumps. And that's one of my signs. I think everybody has their own.
Yeah.
When I speak a higher truth or communicate it, when it comes through me, I'll get goosebumps.
You know what? Someone said to me the other day, she says, they're God bumps.
Oh,
I'm
like that.
Yeah, I like that.
God bumps.
God
okay,
bumps.
I like that. I like that.
Isn't
And
that
God,
fun?
like when you say that, whatever they call it, it's really just
Right.
Yeah.
God,
Exactly.
Allah,
The word,
Yeah.
Buddha,
which is the sound, which is the frequency.
It's just the frequency.
See,
It's
exactly. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Totally.
I agree.
Totally.
So call it what you want. Just make sure you have an up in it.
I like that. Good for you,
Just
Michael.
have an up in
It's
it.
got to have the
Up in it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I feel complete. That
I
was
do
beautiful
too.
right there.
Yay.
Do you?
Message sent. Yeah, I think so. I think unless you want me to share, I think that was one of the things I felt I left dangling was, how do other people do this? What would be a step-by-step way to kind of connect or do the writing?
I think that's a beautiful way
Yes. I
I'm,
think
I'm
that's
happy
important.
to share that
to
because
land the plane.
Yeah.
good. Okay, because my
Yeah.
ultimate goal is that we all connect individually.
Yes.
And again, I'll put this out there that sometimes it's easier for me to get clear answers when I'm speaking with someone else, even if I'm speaking about my own guides, because when it's just me by myself and I'm getting a message, well, is that my thought or is that the guides? It's less clear to me. When I'm reading someone else, the message will come through and there will be things that I have no way of knowing, subjects covered that I have no knowledge of, sometimes vocabulary that I don't normally use, and I literally will look them up to see, did that word make sense? It might be something I'm familiar with and heard, but it's not something I use regularly. And I have never yet had it not make sense, even when, I wasn't sure myself. So, it's interesting. It's very interesting the way all of this comes through. But I do think that we ultimately can trace back our own connections and find inspiration. And I think we do it in different ways. I think anytime you're in the flow, you feel like, whether it's athletics, whether it's business, whether it's music, whether it's like me getting a message, that's your connection. You're feeling that connection. And everyone does it differently. So that needs to be said, that, not everyone has to sit and meditate, and listen to drum music or sacred bowls. Those are beautiful, wonderful things and very, very helpful. But you can meditate when you're out riding a bike, when you're driving.
Life is a meditation.
I think
Yes.
so. I think that we can be connected, and it's not something that you have to separate from the world to do. I think that you can stay connected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When
I
have
think
those
that's really
moments,
important.
I'm like, I call it flow state. Like when you're
Perfect.
just
Yes.
Right.
Because people used to believe they weren't connected to the earth to get into that state. And
Right.
now we know that it's important to be connected to the earth and here
100%.
to be in that flow
Right,
state. So I
right.
think that makes it easier to.
Good. Right.
Yeah, thank you
Right.
for
Yeah.
saying that.
So anyway, as far as steps that I would go through, It's basically you quiet your mind. You set the tone for what you want, that you want to receive a message. You go to a place that's comfortable for you, whether that's a secluded room, whether that's outside, whatever that is to you, whether you want music or no music. Some people like to put noise canceling headphones on just to take all the noise away. It's all about quieting and separating from your busy, busy monkey mind, your busy, busy daily, and just stepping back. And I feel like I step into the role of observer. I'm
Totally.
not active. I'm becoming the observer. And so whatever can allow you to get to that space, I would create that sort of space, make sure you're not going to be interrupted. And then I sit. I like to write. People don't have to write. People can draw. People can just absorb. For me, I like to have just a spiral notebook. It doesn't have to be fancy. I have a pen that writes smoothly, that doesn't catch. And then I do my blessing. I do my opening. I protect and ground myself before I begin, and I align myself what's in the highest and greatest good. And then I will pose a question or have an intention. Please help me with this situation, or how do I best deal with this? It's better to not ask a yes/no question, something more open-ended that they can work with. And then I wait and I go quiet. And I've heard it said that the difference between praying and meditating is praying is speaking to God and meditating is listening to God. Mm-hmm. And so in the beginning, you're praying and you're saying, this is what I'm hoping for. This is what I'm open to. And then you're listening and you go into a form of meditation, a form of self-hypnosis, a quiet state. And you slow down, you can slow your breathing and just ease into it and then listen. And I just let my hand write what comes up. I don't censor, I don't judge, I don't analyze, and just go with that flow. And when it stops, it stops. You can ask another question, you can continue. And if you're not getting something, if it is your mind and it's just you writing, you've lost nothing. You've clarified your own thoughts in that moment. So try it again. Mm-hmm. You can go back and try it again. But I just sit and allow the words to come. And then when I feel like it's done, you get a sense of it, like the message is done, things get kind of quiet. Then I close down and I always show gratitude. Thank you for, giving me this message, for helping me with this issue. And then you kind of release your connection and go on with your daily life. And, if you make a practice of that, I think that, mine got more and more detailed, my messages. They still are very varied. They might come out gibberish at first. It might be random words, random thoughts. But when you connect to your guide, there's a sense of the words will have authority. The words will have a serenity. They're very high-minded. They're always for your highest and greatest good. They're very loving.
Feel good.
Yeah, they do. They make you feel good.
Yeah.
Even if it's a correction, because I've had things come through that were correcting people, that saying, you're on the wrong path. But it is done with such love. Ooh, I have goosebumps.
Yes.
It's done with love and compassion, and there's just a feel to it that you'll know these are your guides.
It is compassionate.
It is.
If you see a house on
Always.
fire, you're going to want to get the people out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
There's-
our natural instinct, is to care for each other.
Yeah.
but somewhere there's wires got crossed, and that's not okay. Like, on some level
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to go back to what we know is true, to what we feel is right, and not be distracted.
And what a fabulous practice for a daily thing for yourself, even if you're not getting messages, just to get that connection in your heart.
Right.
And
to
then
have that quiet time.
Right. And bring balance to yourself. And you don't even have to focus on getting a message, but if you want to, you can.
Right. It's a matter of just being open and then either listening, looking, receiving what comes through.
And then you feel good for the rest of the day.
And you do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
well, you're so
do you have
welcome.
anything else that you want to?
I feel really fabulous.
I do
I think
too.
now we've got 2 sessions with you
Yay.
that are both very, very different, but very powerful in their own way.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes.
It's
When
been
we listen
wonderful
back, like it'll
to talk with you.
I knew when that was tail ending off of 4 that this was supposed to. This
Come
was just the
next.
perfect thing. But I want to acknowledge you for something really powerful. You had a hunch when you left,
Right.
Yes.
and you took action with it. You said something.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
So many people in life swallow that.
Right. And my old self would have. I
My-
would have
my
been the
old
nice
self would have
person
totally
that would
done that.
never have
Upset
said
the
a
apple
word,
cart,
and
yeah.
I don't want to hurt their feelings. And part of it was feeling safe to do that.
Yeah.
That was my first experience with you, Michael, but my read on you was that you're very open and accepting. And of course, I know Marilyn and know her to be a wonderful person. And so when I walked out and had that weird, surreal, confused feeling, I thought, I don't know what to do with this, but I'm going to approach Marilyn and say, what was it like for you? And together we kind of went back and forth and finally kind of got a handle on what went on. And I was so glad I did.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Because I came away understanding what had happened.
Yeah.
That, I had come in wide open and giving the guides full rein to give the message that they felt was most important. And they came into this room and read the room and said, okay, we need to talk about these things.
Yes.
And they did.
And they did.
And it was
they
good.
did. And they
But
did.
this part was important too. Very, very important also. So yes, I'm really grateful you did
Well,
that.
thank you.
And our decision came to ask the guides what we need to do.
You did, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
yeah, and I totally trust that.
Yeah, yeah. And when you said
that's
that, I was like, oh, of course, let's see
Yeah.
what they have to say.
Yeah.
And that was what they said, was that they had not a mission, but they had an intention, and they had a powerful message they wanted to share. And that, in their estimation, that was what was important. And that was what I had asked for, was let
they
me
complete
share what's
now?
important. So
Can you check in, see if they're complete now?
let me ask. They say yes. They say that it was important to also make this real, to let people know that I'm a real person, Michael is a real person, Marilyn's a real person, and that you don't have to be a monk on a mountaintop to have these connections, that we're all real people. They want us to know that too.
All right, God bumps everywhere.
Oh, I do have my hair
all
standing
three
up.
of us, I think.
It's
That's
lovely.
a perfect way to land this plane. So
Well, thank you for asking me to check in. Thank you.
it's brilliant. So
Thank you.
I don't
thank
have
you.
to. I know you. If you've listened to this, you have gotten value.
Absolutely.
And, I'm clear on that. 100% clear. So I just want to thank Marilyn, and for doing this podcast with me, and
Oh, thank
it's
you.
just opened up so many doors, and Jeanie for making
Thank
it
you.
happen.
Thank
yeah,
you very
Yes.
much.
it's really a blessing.
It's
We're
a
all
blessing
really
for
blessed.
me
so.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm so
to
glad
have this
you're
venue.
here.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Very
Hope you
valuable.
guys enjoyed, and we will see you on the next episode.
Yay.
Yay.
Bye bye. Have a really great day.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.